Hi, I'm Desiree Hadley.
And I'm Andrea Mason with Newark People's Assembly.
And welcome to Hold the Line with Mayor Baraka. Hi, Mayor.
How are you?
Good. So today we're going to talk about the NRDC settlement.
Okay.
We're going to also discuss the police officers wearing body cameras, Joe Biden's executive orders, and if we have time, we'll touch on the subject of some of the illegal bars that have been popping up in Newark and getting shut down.
Yeah.
So the first question I have, we can go right into it. So just about everyone is familiar with the lead service replacement program that has been going on in Newark for a couple years now. During the pandemic, Newark has been busy replacing lead service lines around the city. As of today, we're at 17,048 lead service lines has been replaced in Newark. And we're like about 90% complete because the goal is 18,000.
A little over 18,000.
Right, a little over 18,000. So we're getting there. So recently, articles have been published about the NRDC settlement, and it's almost like they're taking credit for Newark taking the initiative of replacing these lead service lines. So my question to you is this type of reporting problematic?
Well, I'm not surprised. I mean, you know, the kind of paternalism that exists, you know, I've been used to it forever, from journalists, from corporations, I mean, the way they came here in the first place was very paternalistic and, you know, telling us what to do and what not to do, and that they should be in charge of us. I'm glad that we resolved it, though. You know, I'm glad that it is over with, and the only reason that it is over with is because we got these lead service line replaced. They didn't find the money for us to do that. We did it. They didn't organize it. Kareem organized it, right? The director that they talked about so terribly, he organized it. They did an awesome job in getting them replaced. There's no city in the country that has had lead service lines replaced at this speed and this effective, which is why NRDC is even saying that after this is done, Newark is going to be the national model. Yeah, because we did what we were supposed to do. We had a problem, we saw it, and we fixed it.
Right, and they're almost just saying that because they made a big deal out of it, because they initiated this lawsuit.
Well, they have to do that. You know, they made a lawsuit. You know, nobody paid out anything. Look, the people in Flint are being indicted. You know what I mean? So those people are being indicted. They have a criminal case. This didn't turn out that way, right? Because we didn't do anything criminal. And since the very beginning, we've been trying to solve this problem with a lot of people trying to get in the way of it, but we did it. And so in order to save face, to do all this other thing, people have to do this stuff. I don't have an issue with it, honestly. You know, I'm just happy it's over in terms of the lawsuit. And we're going to continue to do what's necessary to make sure Newarkers have clean drinking water.
So, Mayor, you actually just spoke on about my question. Initially, there was a bunch of comparisons from Newark, New Jersey versus Flint, Michigan. So can you just talk briefly about the difference in our issue versus their issue?
Well, we've been saying that since the beginning, but it was lost because they were trying to desperately make us Flint. We told them what happened in Flint was done purposefully. That they knew that the corrosion control was not working, that lead was in the water, and they chose not to do anything. They let it fester, and they deliberately allowed people to have access to lead in their water. And they did it to save money, and so people were being indicted for it. That's not what happened in Newark. Newark didn't know. We did a test. We did a test that was never done in the country before. We sent our pipes to the EPA. They studied it and came back and told us the corrosion control was not working. We immediately began to buy new corrosion control, to set it up, to invest in the water system, to pass out filters, to do everything that we needed to do to fix this, and find money to change lead service lines. So we worked very quick to try to get this thing resolved. And so we didn't sit back and let this thing develop and exacerbate purposefully. We jumped on it as soon as we had the information.
Thank you for that. Thank you, and Director Adeem.
Yeah. All right, so there was a story in Newark about police officers not firing their guns in the year 2020. Yeah. Right, this story went viral. Everyone was talking about it, and I was proud of it. Everyone was. But on New Year's Day 2021, a plainclothes police officer in an unmarked police car fatally shot a man on January 1st. And because of this, Newark released a press release saying that they will now start to initiate police officers, plainclothes officers, to wear body cameras.
Which should start today.
Right, starts today. So my question to you is, do you think if this officer was wearing a body camera on January 1st, do you think he would have thought twice before firing his gun at that moment?
I think that everybody acts different when the cameras are there. Right. Listen, 46% of the cases that we have against police have been exonerated because of body cameras. But the other half of it have been justified because of body cameras. So body cameras can work either way, right? It could either help the cop get off a situation where people are lying, or it justifies people's complaints. What happened that day is still under investigation, but I think both of those people collided. I think the officer and the gentleman really ran into each other, and the officer had his gun out. And so ultimately, there's a whole lot of issues surrounding that we need people to come in who were out there to testify and give statements as to what they thought happened that day. I know that people were upset that I said it was tragic and disturbing, but what bothers me is that people don't see death as tragic and disturbing. That there's officers who are upset because the mayor said the shooting was tragic and disturbing. I bet you his mother thought it was tragic and disturbing. Any loss of human life is tragic and disturbing, right? No matter how it happens. And so we have to focus on that. And we need to make sure that there's body cameras, because the body cameras would have helped us see the whole story, right? Because we don't have other cameras out there, there's no witnesses. A body camera on people helps us see what actually happened. So we're not jumping to conclusions. So I'm not making statements that I shouldn't make, so the community don't feel some kind of way. And so the residents can get justice if it's deserved.
We're going to move on to talking about President Joe Biden's executive orders. So his first week in office, he signed a ton of executive orders. So to name a few that were COVID-19 related, one of them is the executive order coordinating a government-wide COVID-19 response, an executive order requiring mask wearing on federal property, an executive order expanding access to COVID-19 treatment, an executive order promoting data-driven response to COVID-19, and a memorandum supporting states using National Guards in COVID-19 response. That's just to name some of them. So my question to you is, do you think this response, this immediate response to COVID-19 will help to move things along faster as far as fighting the virus that have been killing, so many Americans?
Leadership is important. I believe it, that there needs to be a national direction to this. God knows I need help. Everybody needs help. We've been dealing with this stuff on our own. It's like every person for themselves. We've been pulling stuff out of the air, trying to fight this thing on our own. And it feels that way. It's overwhelming. I'm happy to have a president that at least sees that we have to have a national response to this. So I'm happy that he's doing it. Prayerfully, a lot more is going to get done, but I think this is a great start.
So unfortunately, I haven't read any of the executive orders that were signed on Inauguration Day, but I've heard through the grapevine that there may be some forgiveness for student loans. Are you familiar with that, and do you support it?
I absolutely support it. Wow. I haven't heard that. The latest I heard was the ending the contracts of private prisons, federal private prisons, which I thought was great. I think he's on a good is on a roll, obviously, and if that's one of them, that is much needed in this country. Absolutely.
Another proclamation Biden signed during the first week was the proclamation pulling funds from the border wall.
Oh, yes.
So how do you feel about that one?
No, I think it was a waste of money in the first place. To build the wall is ridiculous, right? So ultimately, that money could be used for a lot of different things here internally that we need. So I think it's a wise idea for him to do that.
All right, so we still have time to talk about around Newark. We've been seeing a lot of bars popping up illegally, establishments selling alcohol illegally.
Sure.
A lot of these parties have been going on around the city that have been shut down during this pandemic. So my question is, do you think this is due to people feeling almost a sense of desperation to enjoy life in some sort? And do you feel like, the police have been shutting them down, but do you feel like there's more attention being placed on them because they're in the forefront because of the pandemic that's currently taking place?
I think people are taking advantage of the fact that these places can't stay open late. So they're going to have this speakeasy stuff going on. They're going to have a nighttime sneak in a warehouse bar. And really, it's putting people in danger. And so I think the police and really ABC and code enforcement are doing a great job in responding and getting the information, and the residents, because they wouldn't know about it if residents wouldn't say anything. So the residents are telling them, and they're responding to it. I think this is the right thing to do. And people, people do want to party, and ultimately, the reality is we just don't have the discipline to put the thing off, to delay our gratification. And, our priority is about what's important to us. 2 hours, 3 hours of a good time, or 20 more years of your life.
So, Mayor, with that being said, do you think that there'll be quite a few more of these illegal kind of facilities or functions popping up that the task force will shut down before they really get a handle on, hey, we can't do this?
Unfortunately, I think they're gonna be doing this for some time. They have them in New York. They have them in all over the place. They have these these late night parties. DM me, I'll give you the information. All of this stuff that's going on, and DJs are trying to make money. These bar owners are trying to make money, and they playing off of people's desire to come outside.
Is there a consequence? What's the consequence for these establishments?
Well, some of these people are going to jail. They're getting hefty fines. I mean, it's illegal to sell alcohol without a license. To set up an establishment without a license to sell alcohol is illegal. And you're going to get charged with the amount of alcohol that you have. You have $10,000, $200,000 worth of alcohol, then you get charged based on that.
And there are also some bars who were operating legally operating, but were shut down because they decided to stay open past the curfew.
Yeah.
With these establishments that have been, they've been suffering because of the pandemic, and they decided to basically break the law and stay open past the mandated curfew. Post-pandemic, do you feel like Newark will have to pay special attention to the, nightlife scene and these lounges that are taking a hit at this time?
Yeah, I think, we're going to do what we're doing now, which is try to make sure they have access to funding and money, and from us, from the state, from the federal government, that we do that. And then I think, we boost this thing up and we continue to push what's going on in Newark already. I think people will come here. Listen, when this is over, man, everybody's going to make a ton of money. I believe that 100%. People are going to run outside. You hear me? These people are going to go, and that's why I'm telling people they just need to be paid. Everybody is hurting from this, either emotionally, spiritually, psychologically, financially. People are hurting. And I know you're trying to be one of the ones that are not hurting, but it's hard, right? It's hard. Everybody, it's hurting. And, it's hitting you one way or the other. So I think when this is over, by the grace of God, and I believe it will pass, because this too will pass, that, look, you ain't going to be able to keep people out of your establishment once this thing ends.
So we're at 1 minute left. Is there anything else you wanted to share or tell the audience?
Well, I feel like, that Biden and Harris is in office. People have took a long sigh. We need to, figure out when the sigh is going to end, because we need to start getting engaged in what's going on. And maybe it changed people, this pandemic and crazy Trump, changed people to make them believe that they have to be more engaged in civic government, locally, because we need people to be involved in what's going on around here, not just through social media, but actually really be involved with what's going on in this city.
All right, Mayor. Well, thank you. That's all the time we have
Thank you.
for today. And thank you, everyone out there, for watching Hold the Line.